Carl Bernstein. We don't know that Mueller met with him, but we know that his team did. What do you make of the current state of play in the White House?
I think it's impossible to separate the rage that the president is in about Mueller's investigation from the rest of the president's rage about many things happening around him, including Tillerson's comment that the president is a moron. Purportedly, he made that comment. And what there is a sense of, people I talk to in the White House and Republicans on Capitol Hill, is that the wheels are coming off this presidency and in the White House, that there is an attempt by those closest to the president, especially Kelly, especially the military leaders, to try and constrain the president from his own inclinations to say wild things, to act irresponsibly. It's almost as if there's a protectorate around the president. He's constantly complaining, going into rages about the investigation, about disloyalty among his aides. It's an extraordinary situation, unlike anything I've seen in 50 years in Washington.
The protectorate around the president preventing from chaos. If you ask Republican Senator Bob Corker, let's listen to this.
I think Secretary Tillerson, Secretary Mattis, and Chief of Staff Kelly are those people that help separate our country from chaos, and I support them very much.
So, Carl, is that a one-off, an anomaly from a Republican senator on his way out who wants to voice his opinions, or is that reflective of what you're hearing among other Republicans on the Hill?
No, and I believe that the big story right now, if we can get to it in the press by going to Republican members of the Congress, talking to them on background, going to military leaders and leaders in the intelligence community, is that many of them have lost confidence in this president. They doubt his fitness to be president. They doubt his competence. They're worried that he has to be restrained and constrained by these military leaders. Remember, George Washington resigned his commission so that we could have civilian control of the military. Now we increasingly have military control of the presidency. This is not quite what our system was meant to do, and at the same time, people are counting on these military leaders, Mattis, on McMaster, et cetera, to constrain and keep this president from doing wild things. This whole question now of the Iranian deal, in which the president is going up against the recommendations of his own national security apparatus, going his own ways. There's a sense that this president is the president of his base, and that's who he appeals to. He's not the president of all the people in the sense of presidents traditionally. He's made no attempt to unite the people of the country and our allies, and this increasingly worries McMaster, Mattis, the others, Tillerson. Our allies are dismayed by the conduct of this president. They don't believe he's a consistent leader in the sense of American leadership. So meanwhile, people around the president who are coming before grand juries and are coming before investigators are talking because there are emails of their that they have produced that have had to be turned over, some 20,000 emails from people in the White House, and they have no choice, including people very close to the president. They have no choice but to talk truthfully to the prosecutors. And this, too, is a source of great consternation and rage by the president, who sees his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, at the center of these investigations. So there's a lot of lashing out. And meanwhile, the work of the presidency is not being done in the traditional sense. We have many appointments that haven't been filled. We've never seen this kind of chaos in a presidency before. We've seen difficult 100 days, difficult first 6 months. Bill Clinton's was disastrous in some ways. This is different because it goes to the character and competence, a feeling that the President of the United States, including among those on the White House staff, may be unfit for the office.
Carl, quickly, he says it's your fault. That it's the media, that you are making stuff up about him, you dwell on the negative, you give him no credit, and that's why he's caught in the cycle that he's in.
I think he's caught in the cycle that he's in because of his own actions and inactions. Look, he's used the power of the presidency somewhat effectively to promulgate regulations of the type that he campaigned on. It's not as if he's done nothing in these areas, environmental regulations, business regulations, other things. He has plenty of power and he exercises it. This is something different. And the idea that to make the conduct of the press the issue, as Nixon did in Watergate, but no president has done what Trump has done in terms of the press. He doesn't understand the free press. He doesn't understand the First Amendment. And increasingly, if we're to believe the poll numbers, and that's only a snapshot, the credibility of the press is rising with quite a rapid ascent, while the credibility of the President of the United States is moving downwards. So it's not working attacking the press except to his base. And meanwhile, it is further alienating and further dismaying those on Capitol Hill who see this president as flailing. We are in a dangerous situation in this country. That is what Republicans, many of them, including some in the leadership, will tell you on Capitol Hill when you talk to them privately. They are worried that we have a president of the United States who is really not stable in terms of the way he is occupying the office and exercising the powers of the presidency. It is an extraordinary situation, and that's the real story.
Carl, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.